What is up, people of the DCEU and DC Multiverse out there, I guess you could say, because we're getting into all of the new information that has been reported coming out of CinemaCon. Now, if you aren't aware, essentially, Warner Brothers showed brand new footage from Aquaman 2, Shazam Fury of the Gods, the Flash movie, Black Adam. It's also where Matt Reeves attended and announced the Batman 2. The Batman sequel is officially happening, and we've already covered that, so check that video out if you haven't already. Essentially, not only do I go over the brief announcement of it, but we get into a bunch of questions that are on your guys' minds with regards to, you know, when it could be releasing and things like that. But in today's video, we're going to go over the notes that people who attended CinemaCon brought out of that, you know, in terms of little details like Zod in the Flash movie footage. And these weren't like exactly trailers that would go up on YouTube. Some of them were slightly extended. Of course, they're going to have footage in there that we're going to see in future trailers, but some of the stuff they showed at the CinemaCon presentations were quite often longer than that of your normal trailer. So I doubt these are going to be posted publicly or anything like that, but that doesn't mean that we don't have this information. So I'm going to be reading out a few things because some of this is really just interesting stuff when it comes to our just hype for seeing, you know, characters like Michael Keaton's Batman return, or, you know, Black Adam, and what could be going on with that. So today we are starting off with the Flash sizzle reel that they showed. Now, I wasn't sure. I mean, this is CinemaCon, so it's WB showing it to, like, you know, the cinema industry, if you will. And of course, you know, why at the same time wouldn't they show stuff? But with regards to Ezra Miller stuff recently and how severe that's been getting with the arrests, I wasn't sure how ham they would go with it. I didn't know if it would be a thing that would be beneficial because it's distracting, but then again, if you show the Flash movie, doesn't it bring more attention to just the recent reports? But interestingly, apparently, that Ezra Miller, and especially according to these notes we're going to go over, barely really appeared in this, and it was a lot more Batman heavy in the Flash movie. So for example, the first bullet point we have says that Barry goes back in time, childhood home. Barry's watching a recording of himself. Now, I mean, I guess I can easily see that. In the Flash trailer, we do see Ezra Miller's Barry Allen approaching the doorsteps of his childhood home. We see him about to tap the shoulder of his mother. I don't really know the extent of what will happen after those scenes. It's probably gonna be Nora just being like, oh, son, you're back. It won't really be any different to her, or maybe you've had a haircut or something like that, since we do have two Barrys in this movie, and it might not actually be his version of his mother, because they seem to be adapting Flashpoint quite differently, as Andy Muschietti has actually teased, is Flashpoint, but not the way you're expecting. Now, with the example of more Batman heavy, we have these comments, and we're going to read out again another interpretation from Deadline, but here it says 7 Batsuits. It carries on to say that Batman on the Batcycle, Zod, Supergirl, and Keaton's Batman returns, with the quote of saying, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." Now, let's go straight into the Deadline one before we break down those details. Now, there's more Batman lore in the trailer as we see the Caped Crusader's mansion and his secret library full of suits. Now, in the other account, it says 7 Batsuits. Here, they're just saying full of suits. Deadline, interestingly, say, oh, he's also on his motorcycle, but it's the one from the Christopher Nolan films. Now, there's conflicting reports about this. I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong, but again, I'm seeing conflicting things coming out of the people who attended CinemaCon. Here, Deadline 100% label that as if that's Michael Keaton, like, on his own motorcycle, and it's the one from Christopher Nolan's films. Some are saying that it's Ben Affleck on his Batcycle, because behind the scenes filming, if you're up to date, or even if you're not up to date, essentially Ben Affleck's Batman is returning in the Flash film. He's in a pursuit on his own Bat bike. So it would make sense if this was really that with this comment, but they're specifically saying, oh, he's also on his motorcycle, but it's the one from the Christopher Nolan films. What? So, unless both are true in saying that, you know, obviously we are getting Ben Affleck on his Bat bike, and we know that for a fact, but maybe we could be getting Keaton on a Bat bike as well. But it's kind of odd to me labeling it the one from Christopher Nolan's films. It's like, really though? I mean, really? This one's a little bit fishy to me. I'm not ruling out that Michael Keaton could have his own bat bike on top of the Ben Affleck bat bike scene that we know we're getting in this Flash movie, but at the same time, it's just a bit strange. But also, let's get back to the, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. I don't think Keaton is going to be saying that in a cheesy way, believe it or not, in the way it kind of was when Bruce said that in Tim Burton's film. Essentially, I feel like he could be saying it to Barry in terms of, okay, right before they go out somewhere, or right before we go on this mission, or before we go out there and do this, you know, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Or just something like that. Obviously, a lot cooler than the way I said it, but I think he's going to say it a lot more calculated and calmly, if you can say a line like that in that way. But I doubt, you know, we're going to have old man Keaton's be like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. You know, I don't think it's going to be like that. Now, as for these 7 Batsuits, and as Deadline reports, his secret library full of his suits. Obviously, we're probably going to see the original suits. We know he's got an up-to-date Batman suit in the Batgirl film, and what is being reported to be the current suit he wears in the Flash film as well. Makes sense, because Batgirl is originally, and I say originally just in case they do want to release it sooner than the Flash film for some reason or another, but meant to be a consequence as of Flashpoint, you know, it's picking up after that. But these other suits, I wonder what we're going to see there. Like, that could be really, really, really interesting. It makes me think, are any of them going to be really armored in their Kingdom Come-esque kind of way, but maybe not, because if he doesn't need that suit, then maybe he just, you know, won't have it at all, because if he's wearing a normal looking Batsuit, or at least the new revised one that you've seen in the Batgirl behind the scenes filming, why would he have one of those? We could see a slight different version of, for example, a BVS against Superman's suit, mech suit, if you will. In his own canon, he went up against Superman, or technically maybe that wouldn't make as much sense because it would be Sasha Calle's Supergirl, and more news on that in just a second. Either way, I don't expect to see more or massively advanced suits amongst this library of suits than the one he's wearing now, because think about it this way, why would he have a cooler looking suit than the kind of slightly revised Batman 89/return suit that we see him wearing during Batgirl? Basically, it's a bit more plated, the cowl's slightly different, it's got a few lines running throughout it, a little bit more decorated that way, but it's still largely the same. It's got like big bold yellow bat symbol. Again, not quite 89, not quite Returns, like the ab armor's a bit different, but ultimately the same design-esque, if you will, at least, you know, overall looking. So again, it wouldn't make sense for me to have like a really cool looking one to that of somewhat modern day suit weaving and making, if you will, when he's currently already chosen one for him to wear in the Batgirl movie and the Flash movie. Now, this is where things get even more interesting, because it says also spotted a young Superman, Deadline reports, I believe. And it's like, okay, a young Superman. What happened to Superman on this world? Now, this could be getting into leak territory where some of those leaks could be true. Now, I'm not going to mention them here in this video, but all I will have to say is that it could have something to do with Zod, because in this footage, it also reveals, apparently, Michael Shannon's Zod. So that's like, oh god, so what if those leaks are true? A lot of these leaks, by the way, sound quite preposterous, where it's like, really? I don't know if they're going to do that. But the talk of a young Superman here is certainly interesting, and as we know, Superman's fate is a little bit up in the air right now in the DCEU with whatever they're going to do. We will revisit that in a second. But also, we have some actual dialogue reported here saying, time has a pattern, Barry Allen, Ezra Miller ponders in the trailer. He is seen crying, looking as though he's embracing his mother. Again, going back to what I said with like how we see in the trailer, he's going up to about to tap his mother on her back or something, and to her it's probably going to be normal, but he's going to be a really emotional Barry, I'm sure, and she's just going to be like, why are you so... Nice haircut, by the way, but why are you so upset? I'm guessing it'll be that kind of scene. And then the trailer climaxes in Flash's recruiting of Keaton's Dark Knight. Are you in? Asks Alan, and then the last bullet point saying, clearly, yes. I'm guessing Keaton either says clearly yes, or it's just made clear that he is in. And as for what he's in for, is probably the plan to sort out this current universe that he's in, because that seems to be a little bit of the situation. Barry crosses to a different version of, you know, Earth, if you will, and it's not necessarily Flashpoint done in the super traditionalist way, where it's like, okay, it's being changed on his Earth. He's traveled the multiverse, as we've heard from the dialogue in Keaton. It's like, oh, you can do this, you can do that, you know, why would you want to stay in this one, kind of thing. And that's probably what he's doing. Barry wants to help out this current universe. It's just interesting as to ponder what the resolution would be and why it could be this universe staying around, or Barry staying in this universe, and maybe this universe being the one that carries on with Sasha's Supergirl, you know, Leslie Grace's Batgirl. We've also got Michael Keaton as a new Bruce Wayne, but that gives some people hope that the Snyderverse, if you will, that Earth, the original Earth, is still out there and still could be worth exploring in the future to HBO Max under Warner Brothers Discovery. It's really a little bit up in the air, but again, this is Flashpoint, as Andy Muschietti said, but not in the way you would expect, or what, I'm abbreviating the line, but something like that. Now, the John Campea show says that there's a shot of a Kryptonian in Kryptonian armor, and it's perhaps Faora, and it is very much so Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Kryptonian armor-looking stuff. Which is certainly interesting, guys, you know, when you take into account that they say Zod, Supergirl, that it's not explicitly clear if they're in the same scene in this CinemaCon trailer, or just it was one scene after another. Then you have someone in that Kryptonian Man of Steel armor, likely Faora. It just makes you think that it's going to be a doppelganger of some kind of, you know, Zod, but in Michael Keaton's Earth, if you will. And it could explain as to how Sasha Calle's Supergirl is there, whereas she isn't in Barry's or our original Snyderverse version of the Earth, if you know what I mean, that we've been used to up until now. You know, we haven't had Clark's cousin, but in this Earth there clearly is. Maybe something else goes down with Zod. Maybe he came to Earth a bit younger, or should I not say younger, but earlier, which is why we spot a young Superman. That could surround the whole thing there, and that could also, you know, if you want to go down that road of speculation into leak territory. But again, that's not for this video, but it definitely is making me think of some of the things coming out between the grapevine of the leak realm, if you know what I mean. But that is more or less it for the Flash film, if you will. Let me know what you think of all of that. Can you piece any of it together? What do you think we could see in terms of Keaton's, you know, suits, if you will? What do you think the theories are surrounding Zod on this Earth, and regards to a younger Superman as well? Moving on to Black Adam now, we've got some details on the Black Adam Film News Twitter page saying that the Black Adam trailer was shown at CinemaCon. Here's what attendees saw: Black Adam in the mountains, arrival of Dr. Fate, more Hawkman and Atom Smasher and his origin as a slave, and the quote, "Heroes don't kill people, but I do." Interestingly here, we get a bit more of a detailed write-up. I believe this might be from comicbook.com, with these bullet points saying futuristic ships fly through the frozen tundra. Black Adam is in a water tube. Black Adam: I was a slave when I died. When I was reborn, I was a god. Now, Dr. Fate tells Adam his powers have never done anything but wreak havoc. He opens a mirror portal like Doctor Strange. Slave Black Adam's body is thrown in a pit ages ago. In modern day, he awakes in a tomb and unleashes electricity on a Black Ops team. Now, this is what I believe we've seen in actual previous footage. In the desert, Black Adam flies and battles helicopters and destroys them. He smashes them together and walks away from a fiery explosion, just probably showing that full power and demonstration of, well, yeah, his own personal brand of justice, if you will. So he catches a rocket and throws it back at his enemies. There's some Superman level power here. Action shots of the Justice Society of America. Really looking forward to that. One of my most anticipated things about this movie, that is. I'm sure for a lot of people as well. Hawkman confronts Black Adam, saying there are heroes and villains. Hawkman says, heroes don't kill people. And Black Adam says, well, I do. Now, it just makes me think, man, where is Superman when all of this is happening? I mean, not really, but kind of really. But either way, that sounds awesome. It seems that Black Adam's just going to be, you know, this kind of film in where he comes out, you know, breaks out in modern day, wants to assert his own, you know, well, he's probably pretty enraged, but he's probably going to see that his own old home of Kahndaq has been taken over, and he's going to go out there and, again, deliver his own justice. But the Justice Society are getting involved, and they'll help him, but try and probably keep a little bit of a leash on him. Not that they really can, but I think from some of the stuff we've seen from behind the scenes of like Dr. Fate talking to Black Adam, it's like this, you know, they're trying to get through to him a little bit. I think he's definitely always going to be his own master from here on out. He's never going to let himself get like buried again, so to speak. but he's going to have a little bit of a, you know, growth, I think, in his arc. I don't think he's going to have a massive transformative growth, but I don't think he's going to be straight up villainous anti-hero. I think he'll be more on the leaning side of heroic anti-hero, if you know what I mean, with the JSA's intervention, that is. And that's going to lead to a bit of comedy, I'm sure, between, and conflict as well, between the JSA and Black Adam, but ultimately they're probably going to get along, respect one another as the events of the film unfold, and this just seems like a decent reporting of what was shown, and it looks like it's impressing people. Up next is Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and we have a brief description here from Screen Rant saying that the footage includes Levi Shazam in Paris at a restaurant with Wonder Woman having dinner with him. The hero tells Wonder Woman that he can't commit, and she begins to walk out, but suddenly stops. When she turns around, it is not Gal Gadot, but instead it's Merlin, who warns Shazam in a dream that the daughters of Atlas are coming for him. The footage also shows a giant dragon landing near them. I can't wait to see the effects for things like that. I hope it's really good, because dragons always look awesome, so I hope this one does as well. So Shazam says to Helen Mirren, lady, I've seen all of the Fast and Furious movies, and it's all about one thing: family. Nothing happens. This is like the joke of the footage, you know, and then when nothing happens, so Shazam says, family, again, and the kids all land one by one behind Mirren. So that sounds like a fun, you know, typical thing you would want to see from a little bit of footage from Shazam to Fury of the Gods. I like that joke at the end. It doesn't really sound too cringe. I can already visualize it. He's like, family, and guys, come on, you know, and then they all start coming in afterwards. Ultimately, it just sounds more of the same of what I'm still looking forward to. I know not everyone loves Shazam 1, but I thought it was a fun kind of time. Grab a bit of popcorn and try and enjoy yourself for a bit more of a lighter-hearted DC movie. I think it has charm to it for sure, and from what we've seen from the behind the scenes, if you will, with regards to all of these things, like the Daughters of Atlas and the concept art, things like the dragon and the creatures out there, it just seems like it should be another fun time. Now, lastly, everyone, with Aquaman 2, here we have a very brief little teaser from comicbook.com. Arthur in his orange armor stands atop a stormy sea. Black Manta has a crew on a giant submarine. He's still human, but wields an ancient magical power. Arthur and Orm, interestingly here, have to team up, and we see them walking through a forest. The teaser ends with Orm in front of an octopus-like mecha robot. So it looks like Black Manta is coming back with a lot of force, even equipped with an ancient magical power. And I believe James Wan has also spoken about the level of these characters being on another level, saying that Black Manta now is at a different level. He's still a human being, but he's now imbued with this magical ancient power that ultimately needs Orm's help to fight this evil that is taking over Black Manta, which I'm glad to hear about, by the way, because Black Manta, don't get me wrong, like, with that suit of his and his own intuitive ways of having weapons to take on someone who is an actual superhero of that of Aquaman, to hear that he's been, like, kind of put on the level playing field of being imbued, as James Wan says here, with this ancient magical power is certainly something that I think will just make it a lot more interesting to watch on screen, and just, you know, see these characters punch up against each other in a way that's believable and not just sending torpedoes at Aquaman, which he could just kind of throw back or even withstand the damage of to a certain extent. The movie description for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is: when an ancient power is unleashed, Aquaman must forge an uneasy alliance with an unlikely ally, Orm, to protect Atlantis and the world from irreversible devastation. Now, I think that's going to be kind of that, not like buddy kind of cop kind of movie, if you will, but that kind of dynamic between them is probably going to be interesting, but balanced with the severity of the situation, balanced with cool action and heavy CGI. I wonder how this movie is going to fare, especially with the recent trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I think it is going around on Twitter or something like that. I have no idea if this is true, that she might have 10 or less than 10 minutes of screen time, possibly as a preemptive kind of thing with regards to all of this going on when she was brought into the filming for Aquaman 2. They might have had a bit of foresight with how things may go. I wonder as the months progress and as things unfold, will that change? Will it get more hype as we actually see a trailer? Because granted, to be fair to the film, it's not like we've seen this footage ourselves. We're only talking about the bullet points and the cliff notes in today's video. So yeah, and yeah, I don't think they showed any footage of Amber Heard in that trailer as well, and you know, for self-explanatory reasons. And I guess ultimately it's gonna have to wait to see how that lawsuit goes with regards to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and what the heck is going on there with, if any further decisions are going to be made about her involvement in the film. Because I think some people are talking about, will they even minimize that even further? But I think that is everything I want to talk about today, guys. That is mainly the cliff notes. I wanted to have a nice little ramble discussion about everything. What gets you most excited out of all of these little descriptions coming out of CinemaCon for The Flash, Black Adam, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, Aquaman 2. I definitely want to hear your theories on regards to some of the interesting things we heard mainly coming out of the Flash movie, such as the multiple suits, the younger Superman, Zod, and things like that. But if you want to stay up to date with more things just like this, do consider subscribing to the channel if you're brand new here. I would really appreciate just a little like on the video as well. And if you want to go the extra mile as well, we have super thanks enabled on the channel now, which is a somewhat new feature rolled out to a lot of creators. You do not have to do it, but it's just, again, it helps fuel the videos we make on this channel. But other than that, follow me on social media. All those links are down in the description below, such as Twitter, Instagram, and good things like that. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you people of the DC Cinematic Universe in the next video. Goodbye.